Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video, and today we're going to talk a little bit about 5 quality of life changes that I think we need in War Thunder. We desperately need some of them we need more or less, it depends, but let's get to it. So the first one is a slider for fuel, guys. I cannot believe that we are in 2024 and we still don't have a slider for fuel. A slider would be basically just a way for you to actually choose specifically how many kilos or liters or amounts in percentage of fuel, or even time if they want to. They always like to measure fuel in autonomy in War Thunder. So yeah, why they don't just have a slider in minutes for you to actually slide how much fuel do you want? Because as far as I know, the majority of aircraft that we have in the game, they don't have a minimum or maximum fuel depending on the fuel tank that it's using, etc. And even if it had, I mean, it's not really, it's kind of rare if it exists, something like that. In any aircraft in real life, you could actually choose how much fuel you could take. And I gotta be honest, sometimes, you know, the amount of the minimum fuel is too little, and the amount of the maximum fuel it's too much. So you kind of have to balance it out a little bit. Together with a slider for the external fuel tanks, it would really help, I think, the majority of the players, right? The second one is something to do with fuel as well. Basically the ability to dump fuel. But of course in the aircraft that was possible. There are aircraft in the game that you could actually dump fuel or just release the fuel into the air. So sometimes you have a fire, or you have some form of problem that you need to be lighter, like a dogfight or anything like that. And dumping fuel would actually help with that. I don't understand why we don't have it. It's not every single aircraft that have this type of technology. But for example, the F-111 could actually do that, and the majority of the modern aircraft could actually do that in real life. So there is no reason why we shouldn't be able to have another keybind just to start dumping fuel, and if you hold that, it would continue to dump fuel until it runs out. So that would be very cool, and it would help in certain situations to make you stay alive in the battle. It's a small thing, but it would help a little bit. The third thing is actually another one that it's heavily dependent on the amount or on the aircraft that you are using, or which is basically to be able to fire or release chaff or flares in its own way. So what I mean is, if you want to fire just chaff, fire just chaff. If you can fire just flares, fire just flares. But there is a little thing about this. Not every single aircraft can actually do that, and that's probably why they didn't do this yet. I always like to bring the option, or the example of DCS, right? There, the MiG-21 BIS, for example, you cannot choose which type of countermeasure is being released. So if you choose to use chaffs and flares, it will release both of them at the same time. But something like the Mirage 2000 could actually change the programming, so you could actually fire 3 chaff and 1 flare, or 3 flare and 1 chaff, or 6 flares, or whatever you want, you know. So you could actually choose and program the aircraft to fire when you click the button, the amount of countermeasures and the type of countermeasures that you want. So of course it doesn't need to be as a complex system as we have in DCS, or even in real life for the aircraft that have it. But if the aircraft have some form of system like that, I think we should be able to at least choose between chaff and flare to actually release them. Maybe 2 buttons, I don't know, something. And in some area, because there are some aircraft, especially some more modern ones, that don't have a lot of countermeasures, because you could actually choose between the two to actually fire, which means that you would actually be able to save some of them if you really wanted to, right? The fourth thing is I mean, the fourth and the fifth are something that I think should have been added a very, very long time ago, and it would really help, especially for new players or for players that are really willing to spend the time in the game and want to have a little bit more of a taste on what they're going to get in the future. The first one would be, or the fourth one, the ability to test drive any vehicle. Guys, a test drive, I mean, I think it's the bare minimum. You know, a test drive, even if it's limited, you know, I don't know, they want to just add 3 test drives for each vehicle in each account, and you can test it out or not. But the thing is that test drives for every vehicle would make people actually want to grind more and play the game more, I think. Why? Because they would actually see what they are going for it. So they can actually be surprised or change the vehicle that they want or everything like that. Just give a test flight or a test drive. Especially because the vehicles that you normally can test in a test drive, for example, a vehicle that you just researched, you can test drive the next one. They are normally stock, or you can use the reference mode, but still, it doesn't have the missiles, it doesn't have normally the ammo, unless it's a premium vehicle. And so there's no harm in that, you know. The guy will need to grind the vehicle. It's not a fully spaded vehicle. It's just a little taste, and it is going to just enable people to actually enjoy the game a little bit more, because they can actually plan on which type of vehicle they want to actually research. And the final quality of life change that I think it's just completely problematic that we still don't have, but they must have their reasons, I don't know. It's the dev server. As you know, if you are in War Thunder for a little bit of time, you know the dev servers happen just before patches come. And every single time we have the same problem. People wanting to test the new vehicles in the dev server, but they just can't. Because the grind is too high, or they just don't have the time to grind in just 2 or 3 days, everything. And I think it's crazy to think that in the dev server, we don't have everything unlocked at a certain point at least. You know, the new vehicles or anything like that. I mean, if the objective is to test the new vehicles, put the new vehicles for everybody to test it out on the dev server. It would be it would help the game immensely, because a lot more people would be able to test the new vehicles and new mechanics and everything, and actually provide with some proper feedback. So yeah, hopefully they do all of these 5 things. Let me know what is your 5 quality of life changes that you hope to see in the soonish future. And yeah guys, I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, and yeah, bye, see you.